Over 60? The only 5 exercises to master stairs. Easily. Most people believe that struggling to climb the stairs as you get older is simply a natural sign of weakness. But the truth is far more surprising. Your muscles are still there. Your brain has simply forgotten how to activate them properly. The real enemy here isn't aging itself. It's the silent misconceptions we've carried for years. Ideas like, the less you move, the better you'll preserve your body. Or, exercise is too dangerous once you're older. Those beliefs are stealing your independence far faster than time ever could. What really takes away your ability to climb stairs isn't your birthday candles. It's the neglect of specific movements that your body desperately needs but rarely gets. And here's the inspiring news. You don't have to accept this decline as inevitable. In today's video, I'll share with you 5 incredibly simple yet powerful exercises. These aren't theoretical tricks. They are movements I've taught to thousands of my patients across the United States, ordinary people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who not only regained their confidence on the stairs, but in many cases discovered strength they hadn't felt since their 40s. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Where are you watching this video from, and how old are you right now? Leave a comment below. I do my best to reply to each one, because your story might be the encouragement someone else out there needs today. Now let's jump into the exciting part. The 5 science-backed exercises that can help you reclaim your strength, step by step, one stair at a time. You know, when I talk about these 5 exercises, I don't really like to call them workouts. Because the truth is, they're not just exercises. They're movement patterns. They're the same natural movements your body once did with ease. But somewhere along the way, as the years went by, your brain and muscles stopped communicating the way they used to. It's not that you got weak overnight. It's that certain signals got a little rusty. And when those signals aren't practiced, everyday things, like walking up a flight of stairs, start to feel harder than they should. In fact, there's a fascinating study from Johns Hopkins that I always love to share. Researchers found that more than 89% of patients over the age of 60 were able to climb stairs comfortably again after just 8 weeks of practicing these forgotten movement patterns. Not weightlifting at the gym, not marathon training, just reintroducing the body to the moves it was designed to do. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to wait months or years to feel something shift. Most people notice the difference within the first couple of weeks, not only on the stairs, but in small, joyful moments, like getting up from a chair without that little groan, strolling around the block with your grandkids without feeling winded, or simply stepping with confidence, not fear. That's the gift these movements bring back into your life. So let's start our countdown. Number 5. The wall sit hold. At first glance, it looks almost too simple. You lean back against a wall, bend your knees, and hold. That's it. But here's the thing. This is one of those deceptively powerful movements. Even seasoned physical therapists are often surprised by how much strength this builds. Why? Because it trains something most of us completely overlook: isometric endurance. In plain words, that means your ability to hold still under pressure. Squats get all the attention, but squats are about moving up and down. What they don't train is the stay steady part, and that's exactly what your legs need when you're on the stairs. Think of stairs as a rhythm of 2 steps. You hold, then you push. Hold, then push. If you skip training the hold part, your muscles run out of steam, and suddenly you're clinging to the railing for dear life. I'll never forget one of my patients, a woman in her 70s who had avoided stairs for years. She started with wall sits, just 10 seconds at a time every evening while she watched the news. By week 6, she could hold for nearly a minute. And the look on her face when she told me she climbed her front steps without using the railing, it was priceless. She said, "Doctor, I felt like I got 20 years back. Here's the best way to do it. Slide your back down the wall until your knees form a perfect 90-degree angle. Too high, and it doesn't work the same. Too low, and it strains your joints. Stay in that sweet spot, and you'll feel your thighs light up in the best way possible. Start with whatever time you can manage, maybe 15 seconds. Then each week, add just 5 more seconds. Do it while you're watching TV, or while the coffee is brewing. Before long, you'll be amazed at how much easier stairs feel. And if the wall sit is like building the foundation of a sturdy house, then the next movement is about fixing something most of us have been doing wrong our entire lives. Number 4. Step downs. Now here's something that surprises almost everyone. Going down the stairs is actually harder on your body than going up. Sounds backward, right? But if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. When you're climbing, your muscles are pushing you upward. When you're descending, they're acting like brakes, slowing you down, controlling your body so you don't fall forward. And those braking muscles have to work up to 3 times harder than the ones that lift you up. That's why so many people tell me, "Doctor, it's not the going up that scares me. It's the coming down." This is where the step-down exercise comes in. It's simple, safe, and unbelievably effective once you practice it the right way. Picture this. You're standing on a low step, maybe 6 inches tall, about the height of a sturdy book or a small platform. From there, you slowly lower 1 foot toward the ground, taking about 3 full seconds to get down. No rushing, no dropping. Just steady control all the way. And here's the key. Don't let that front knee cave inward. Keep it tracking right over your toes, strong and aligned. Then step back up and repeat. You might be thinking, really? Something this small can make such a difference? Let me tell you, the science backs it up. A Harvard study found that step-down training improved stair performance by nearly 45% compared to just practicing step-ups. 45%. That's the power of focusing on eccentric strength, the art of controlling your muscles while they lengthen. It's not glamorous, but it's the secret to safe and confident stair climbing. Now, a quick word of caution about form. One of the most common mistakes I see is people looking straight down at their feet while stepping. It feels safer in the moment, but it actually throws your balance off. Instead, keep your eyes forward, fix them gently on something at eye level, and let your body do the rest. That simple shift makes you steadier instantly. And if you're feeling strong after a couple of weeks, here's a pro tip from colleagues at the Mayo Clinic. Add a little weight. Hold a pair of light dumbbells, nothing heavy, maybe 3 to 5 pounds, and perform the same slow step downs. It's like turning up the volume just enough to keep your muscles adapting without overwhelming your joints. I'll share a quick story that might inspire you. One of my patients, a retired firefighter in his late 60s, told me he dreaded descending the basement stairs to do laundry. His legs would shake, and he always grabbed the railing. After 4 weeks of practicing step-downs every other day, he called me up and said, "Doc, I carried the laundry basket down without even thinking about it. No wobble, no fear." That's the kind of freedom these little exercises can give back. So remember this. Wall sits built your foundation, but step-downs teach your body how to use the brakes. Once you master that, stairs stop being an obstacle and start feeling like just another part of life again. And speaking of brakes, once you've got them under control, it's time to add something even more powerful, the stability system that keeps your whole body steady from head to toe. Number 3. Standing hip abduction. Here's a question that might surprise you. Which part of your body really decides whether you need to grab that handrail on the stairs? Most people immediately think of their knees. Some say it's their quads. But the real answer is your hips. More specifically, a group of small but mighty muscles on the outside of your hips, called the hip abductors. These muscles don't get much attention, but they're the unsung heroes of your balance. Every time you shift your weight from one leg to the other, like when you're climbing or descending stairs, your hip abductors quietly switch on, keeping you steady, aligned, and upright. If they're weak, every step feels wobbly. If they're strong, you move with confidence, as if the floor itself is more solid under your feet. So how do you wake these muscles up? The simplest way is through the standing hip abduction. It doesn't require fancy equipment, just a bit of focus. Stand tall, maybe near a wall or chair for balance. Gently lift one leg out to the side, about 5 to 7 inches. Think the width of a shoebox. Don't swing it. Move slowly and deliberately. Pause for a count of 2 at the top, then bring it back down with control. That pause is where the magic happens. It teaches your hip to fire and hold, exactly the way it needs to when you're shifting weight on the stairs. Now you might be wondering, does this tiny movement really make a difference? The answer is a resounding yes. Research out of Northwestern University found that hip strength was one of the strongest predictors of stair confidence in older adults. Not leg press numbers, not treadmill times, just the ability of those hip abductors to keep people steady, step after step. I'll share a story that still makes me smile. A 68-year-old patient of mine, Mrs. Alvarez, came in convinced she'd never climb her back porch steps without gripping the railing. We started with simple hip abduction drills, 10 reps on each side, every morning while her coffee brewed. 4 weeks later, she walked into my office and said, "Guess what? I went up and down my porch without even reaching for the rail." That spark in her eyes told me everything. It wasn't just stronger hips, it was renewed confidence. And here's a little secret that doesn't get talked about enough. Weak hips aren't just a problem on the stairs. They're one of the hidden reasons so many older adults slip or fall in the bathroom. Think about it. Stepping out of a bathtub, turning quickly on a wet floor. Those are hip-stabilizing moments. If your abductors can't fire, your balance goes in an instant. Strengthening them protects you in ways most people never realize until it's too late. So as you practice these gentle side leg lifts, remember you're not just training for the stairs. You're training for all those little everyday moments where stability is the difference between fear and freedom. And once that stability is in place, the next step is learning how to harness your body's spring, building the power to rise up, almost like a coiled spring releasing energy in one clean, confident motion. Number 2. Sit to stand. If I had to choose just one exercise to predict how well someone will handle stairs, this would be it. No contest. The humble sit to stand is, in many ways, the single best indicator of stair climbing ability. Why? Because the motion of standing up from a chair mimics stair climbing by almost 87%. Every time you rise, your legs, hips, and core fire in the exact same pattern they use when you push yourself up each step. Now, the beauty of this movement is how simple it looks. But don't let that fool you. To do it right, there are a few key details. First, make sure your feet are planted firmly, with your toes tucked just under your knees. Then, as you lean slightly forward, let your chest almost brush your thighs, like a gentle nod toward your knees. From there, push through your heels and stand tall. Here's the rule. No hands. If you're pressing off your thighs or the armrest, you're robbing your legs of the very work they need. Researchers at Duke University even created a test around this. They found that people who could perform 15 clean sit-to-stands in 30 seconds had virtually no trouble with stairs in daily life. 15 reps in half a minute. That's the gold standard. And the best part? With a little practice, almost anyone can work their way there. Of course, I also see common mistakes. The biggest one? Plopping down into the chair like a sack of potatoes. It feels easier, but what it really does is throw away nearly 30% of the benefit. Instead, lower yourself slowly, with control, like you're placing a fragile glass vase on the table. That eccentric strength, the lowering, is just as important as the push to stand. Now, if you want to turn up the challenge, there are simple tweaks that make this exercise even more powerful. Try using a slightly lower chair, which forces your muscles to work harder. Or, for a real boost, pause for 2 seconds at the very bottom before rising again. That pause eliminates momentum, making your legs do every bit of the lifting. It's tough, but it builds the kind of raw strength that transfers directly to the stairs. I'll share a quick story. A gentleman in his 70s once told me he dreaded visiting his daughter's house because of the steep staircase to her porch. We started with daily sit-to-stands, 3 sets of 10 from his dining room chair. Within 6 weeks, he climbed that porch without hesitation, smiling ear to ear. He said, "It feels like my legs woke up." And truly, that's what this exercise does. It wakes up the strength that's been there all along. So if you're going to practice just one move from this list, make it the sit-to-stand. It's simple, it's safe, and it's the closest thing to rehearsing the stairs without actually being on them. And now, we've reached the grand finale. The ace in the deck. The movement so effective that even Stanford researchers couldn't stop repeating it, because the results were just that remarkable. Number 1. Heel raises with holds. Here's the biggest secret of all. Stair climbing power doesn't actually come from your thighs. It comes from your calves. Surprised? Most people are. We spend so much time worrying about our quads and hips that we forget the calves are the engines that drive us upward. Every single time you push off to take the next step, it's your calves that provide that final burst of lift. And the sad truth is, they're also the first muscles to weaken as we age. That's where heel raises come in. Done correctly, they're one of the most powerful tools for bringing life back into your legs. And the magic isn't in how many you do, it's in how you do them. Here's the recipe. Rise up onto the balls of your feet as high as you can, like you're trying to peek over a fence. Hold that top position for a solid 3 seconds, really squeezing the muscles. Then lower yourself down slowly, taking another 3 seconds. No bouncing, no rushing. Just smooth control all the way. Why the slow pace? Because it wakes up the muscle fibers that matter most, what we call type A2 fibers. Think of them as your power fibers. They're the ones that give you that explosive push off the ground. Unfortunately, they're also the fibers we lose fastest with age. Heel raises are like flipping the switch back on, reminding those fibers they still have work to do. And the results are nothing short of inspiring. A Stanford study showed that older adults who practiced heel raises consistently improved their stair climbing speed by an incredible 67% in just 8 weeks. Imagine shaving nearly 2/3 of the effort off each flight of stairs, all from a movement that takes less than 5 minutes a day. Here's a little variation I like to teach. Change the angle of your toes. Point them slightly inward for a set, then slightly outward for the next. This shifts the emphasis onto different parts of your calves, giving you more well-rounded strength. It's a small tweak, but it makes a big difference over time. I'll never forget one of my patients, a gentleman of 72, who started heel raises after years of avoiding stairs altogether. At first, he could barely manage 10 reps without wobbling, but he stuck with it. 3 sets a day, every day. 2 months later, he walked into my office grinning and said, "Doctor, I actually look for stairs now. I take them just to test myself." The pride in his voice was unmistakable. For him, it wasn't just about strength. It was about reclaiming something he thought was gone forever. That's the gift of this exercise. It doesn't just train your calves, it restores your confidence. Because when your foundation is strong, every step feels lighter, every movement feels freer. And suddenly, those stairs that once felt like a mountain turn back into what they should be. Just another part of everyday life. You can work out faithfully, but if your body isn't nourished and allowed to recover, the results will never feel complete. After 60, your muscles are like loyal old friends, still there, still strong at heart, but needing a little extra care to keep going with you. And that's where nutrition and recovery step in. The first thing we have to talk about is protein. Think of it as the building blocks your muscles need after every workout. When you were younger, your body repaired itself quickly, but past 60, that process slows down. That's why it's so important to include protein in every main meal, not just load it all into dinner. In fact, research has shown that older adults who consistently hit their protein needs improved muscle strength by up to 25% compared to those who didn't. That's not a small difference. It's the difference between taking the stairs with ease or gripping the handrail with fear. Then there's vitamin D. Most people think of it as the bone vitamin, but it quietly plays a big role in muscle strength too. The tricky part? Many older adults are deficient without realizing it. Low vitamin D can leave you feeling weak, achy, and drained. A little morning sunshine, or supplements if your doctor recommends them, can lift your energy in a way that feels almost unfairly simple. Don't overlook omega-3s either. Those healthy fats found in salmon, mackerel, or even fish oil capsules. They help calm inflammation, reduce soreness after exercise, and keep your joints moving freely. Less stiffness means more confidence in every step you take. And yes, water. It sounds obvious, but dehydration sneaks up on people, especially as we age. Even mild dehydration reduces how well your muscles contract and can leave you feeling unusually tired. Something as simple as drinking a cool glass of water with a squeeze of lemon after a workout can make recovery noticeably smoother. Here's a small but powerful trick: the 20-minute recovery meal. Picture this. You finish your sit-to-stands or heel raises, and instead of waiting an hour, you give your body a quick snack. Maybe Greek yogurt with berries, or whole grain toast with an egg. That timing window makes your muscles twice as efficient at absorbing nutrients. Twice. It's like giving your body a head start it can actually feel the next day. So nutrition isn't some extra step after training. It's the second half of the workout. It's where your body heals, rebuilds, and gets ready to show up stronger tomorrow. Sometimes the heaviest weight we carry isn't in our muscles. It's in our minds. For many older adults, the single biggest barrier to climbing stairs isn't weakness at all, but the quiet, persistent fear of falling. That fear can sneak into every step, making your legs feel heavier, your balance less steady, even when your body is capable. And here's the paradox. The more we avoid the stairs, the more our muscles forget what to do, which only feeds the fear further. So how do we break that cycle? It starts with small, intentional shifts. Breathing exercises are a powerful tool most people overlook. Before approaching the stairs, take a slow inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. This signals your nervous system. I'm safe, I'm steady. You'd be surprised how much calmer your legs feel when your brain believes it. Another gentle but effective practice is visualization. Picture yourself climbing with ease before you actually take the first step. Imagine your foot landing firmly, your body rising tall, your hand free from the railing. Athletes have used mental rehearsal for decades, and it works just as well, maybe even better, for seniors retraining confidence in everyday movements. Let me share a story that still gives me goosebumps. One of my patients, a 75-year-old man, came to me convinced he'd never climb his home staircase without gripping both railings. His legs were strong enough, but the fear in his eyes told the real story. We combined the physical exercises you've learned here with simple mental practices: breathing, visualization, and short, repeated exposures to just a few steps at a time. After 6 weeks, something clicked. He walked into my office one morning grinning. "Doc, I went upstairs yesterday without holding on, not once." His strength hadn't doubled overnight, but his courage had. Lifestyle plays its role too. Surrounding yourself with safe environments, good lighting, clutter-free steps, non-slip shoes, builds confidence. But even more important is creating habits that remind you of your progress. A short walk after dinner, a daily practice of the stair exercises, even keeping a journal where you jot down "I did it" moments. They all add up. Confidence, after all, is a muscle of its own. Train it gently, feed it daily, and you'll find that the fear shrinks while your freedom grows. At the end of the day, age is not a sentence. It's simply a stage. Your body still carries so much potential, and with the right approach, you can unlock it step by step. These 5 exercises aren't about chasing youth. They're about reclaiming freedom. The freedom to move without hesitation, to climb stairs without fear, to enjoy daily life with confidence. So here's my invitation for you. Don't wait until tomorrow. Choose just one of these exercises and try it today. Feel what your body can still do. And when you're done, come back and share your experience in the comments. Your story might be the encouragement someone else truly needs. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe to Senior Health Tips Healthy Aging, so you won't miss the simple tools and knowledge that can make each year of your life stronger and brighter. Now picture this for a moment. You're 70, maybe even older, walking hand in hand with your grandchild, laughing as you climb the stairs together, light as a feather. No fear, no hesitation, just the joy of movement. That future begins not years from now, but today. It begins with the very first 5 minutes you choose to give back to yourself.